Hey, how's it going? It's John again. I'm gonna play some Immaculate Grid. Congrats to Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson on their Rookie of the Year selections. Surprise to exactly no one, but still a huge accomplishment. Real stoked for those guys. Um, why don't we just get into it? Let's just start playing here. I'm gonna share screen. Get Immaculate Grid, pound refresh. What did I have yesterday? 13 with half of it coming from Marquise Grissom. I really should come up with a better one for this, but I think we discovered Jeff Juden works, which I was not expecting. Anyway, hit and refresh. Here we go. 200 wins. Okay. 100 RBI. That I might struggle with that. All right. Um, let's see. Raleigh Hemsley works for all of these teams though. Phillies, Pirates, Orioles, and Yankees. He will work for any combination of that. Um, actually for this one, why don't we go with Fernando Valenzuela? He played ever so briefly with both teams. He goes under one. Let's see here. 200 wins with the Pirates is one that's gonna eat at me. Let's see. Where do I want to go? Because I go Lofton on both of these, or one or the other, obviously. He played for both. Um, let's see, 100 RBI for the Yankees. How do we feel about Bob Musel? I think he hit like six on the Murderers Row Yankees. Okay, he goes sub 1%. Might have been a better one there. That's all right though. Um, Orioles slash Browns. I think Ken Williams, George Sisler will both work for the Browns. BJ Surhoff will work. I think Ken Singleton works. Well, let's go Surhoff. 1999. All right, he goes sub one. Pirates 100 RBI season. Get a Honus Wagner. Herky Vaughn, maybe? But yeah, I don't have any confidence in that. Um, Honus Wagner, I'm very sure of. I think he had a couple hundred RBI seasons there. Vaughn had like a couple like 380 seasons, but I think he hit higher in the order and might not have had as many RBI chances. Stargell will certainly work. Clemente will certainly work. Um, Bonilla will work. Bonds will work. Brian Giles will work. Man, we skipped a lot of baseball history there. There's got to be someone in between. Will Frank Thomas work? OG Frank Thomas? Wouldn't surprise me. He's pictured with the Pirates. I know because I played a lot, but um, I don't know if he ever had a 100 RBI season. Let's see. Anyone else in the 80s? Dave Parker, I think I might have mentioned. Actually, I don't think I did. Stargell, Parker, Clemente on the 60s and 70s. I don't think Dick wrote the year he won MVP. I don't think he was a 100 RBI guy. And McCutcheon, I think, did at some point, but not the year he won MVP, if memory serves me correctly. I say Pedro Alvarez. Um, anyone else from like the two? Jason Bay. Keep forgetting that Jason Bay is a thing. I'm trying to think who might be the most obscure of the people I just sort of rattled off. Not that any of them were particularly obscure, though. I mean, Parker and Stargell and Clemente all won MVPs, and Bonds, obviously is an all-time great. Bonilla was second in the MVP balloting. Giles did it several years. Um, like Giles' run from 99 to 02 is pretty sick. And there's nothing obscure about Honus Wagner. He's the greatest shortstop of all time. I don't feel confident at all about Archie I can picture some of his like high batting average seasons, but I can't really picture his RBI seasons. I know he wasn't a power hitter. Ralph Kiner, didn't mention him yet. All right, I'm gonna skip that one. I've rattled off so many names. Maybe someone else will come to me. What about Kevin Young? I'm only a little. I feel better about Kevin Young than I do Archie Vaughn, but I'm gonna leave that. That'll be for level of suspense. So yeah, I guess I'll come here. Who else has played for both Pennsylvania teams? I feel like there's more people I could be using than. What if I went? How do we feel about Freddie Garcia here? That one. He goes point two. Probably Hemsley, I think will do really well here. Hemsley. Woo! That's a great percentage. So the way I remember with this guy Hemsley, again, he works for all four of these teams. He also works for Cleveland, Chicago Cubs, and Cincinnati Reds. So he works for both Ohio teams, both Pennsylvania teams. He was an all-star for the Browns, Yankees, and Indians. So if you have the all-star category, you can make do with that. The Cubs is kind of just the random other team. All right. So 200 plus wins. I think Whitey Ford just like barely got there. I'm not sure if how long was Jack Chesbaugh's career? I'm not going to hit go. I don't know if it was long enough to get 200. He had the 1 year of 40 wins, but I don't know that he played long enough. Looks like he only played about 10 years. I don't know if his other seasons were good enough, so I'm not going to play him. Um, go with my man. How about Herb Pennock? He did play long enough. He works. He goes sub one. Let's see. And then for the Orioles or Browns, but I mean the Browns weren't going to have a lot of folks. Um, I wonder if Satchel Paige. No, Satchel Paige isn't going to work because they don't capture nearly all of his wins with in the Negro Leagues. If it were to capture like barnstorming and stuff, he probably won thousands of games. But no, I'm not gonna play that. Jim Palmer, of course. Mike Mussina, of course. Let's see. What if Harvey Haddix gets to 200 wins? Not saying that with a lot of confidence either. That's for the Pirates. But I'm also just not thinking of a lot of long time long time Pirates who would have gotten to 200 wins. I mean, AJ Burnett didn't get there. Francisco Liriano doesn't get there. Not even close. Garrett Cole's not there yet. I don't think Doug Drabek gets there. Man, this is a tough one. This is really tough. I'm only coming up with uh Palmer and Mussina here. I'm sure there were guys for the Browns who like popped into the Browns who will work. I'm just not coming up with any of them off the top of my head. I'm not sure about. And what about like Milt Pappas? Did he get there? How long was his career? Feels like it was long enough. Uh, Mike Cuellar maybe also feels long enough, but again, not saying that with a ton of confidence. Really, the only guys I've got are Palmer and Mussina that I have any confidence whatsoever in. I've beat around the bush long enough here, I think. I just need to pick. You know what I'm gonna pick actually? Ramos Ramirez, because I think he had 1 year where he drove in over 100 runs. He still takes 2%, but that's okay. Um, who wins? That guy, was it Ed Morris? Is that the guy I'm thinking of? Oh, he only played 7 years. There's no way he was averaging 30. He'll work for strikeout categories, and I think 20 wins, but there's no way he's going to work there. Um, how long does Haddix play? Not long enough, I don't think. Man, these two categories, 200 wins. Scott Erickson or Jimmy Key? I wonder if they got there. Don't think so. Um, I don't think Valenzuela got there, so I wasn't. I don't think I blew it by playing him. Um, and ooh, I just thought of one. How do we feel about Kevin Brown? I think he played 1 season with the Orioles. Okay, cool. He goes sub one. So that was a good pick. I was stuck on two very obvious choices there. So this guy Veal, who I know, so he plays 13 years. I don't think that's long enough. Um, oh, I got one. Big Rick Ruchel. Let's use him. I know he was a Pirate for a bit, and he won over 200 games. There we go. Rarity score of 11, but I had to really fight for it. Um, Ruchel takes 6 of those 11. We had 14 choices each. Also 280 choices for Pirates and Phillies for me to. Well, I had a good one there, but 175 choices for me to settle on Freddie Garcia, who I don't think was the most obscure. Okay, so this is just the same one. Um, and so if we go Pittsburgh, can't really sort as well here. Oh, you're also going to hit pitcher's roll. This isn't gonna be particularly useful on YouTube. Jim McCormick. Who's that other guy? Gus Wahing. I think I've heard of McCormick. I've not heard of him. Was Veal on there? Did he get 30 wins a year? No, I don't think so. Haddix, nah. Pappas. Mil Pappas does work. 209 wins. So he would have worked for Baltimore. Someone down here works for Silver King. Okay. Probably merits a follow-up at some point. All right. Well, cool. Looks like I need to learn 200 wins a lot better. Obviously it's a much rarer category these days than it was in years past because pitchers just don't go as long, so they don't get as many opportunities for wins. Um, and so you really have to know your dead ball era type folks. Like Milt Pappas had 209 wins. He's best known for being traded for Frank Robinson, and what was considered rightfully considered a kind of a dud of a trade. But 209 wins, that's nothing to sneeze at. If he was playing now, he would be, who beats him? Kershaw, Scherzer, Verlander, and Greinke. Anyone else? Like that's the kind of what the modern game does. You just have a handful of these guys who've gone long enough to win a bunch of games, get a bunch of strikeouts. So um, strikeouts is a little bit different because people are still racking up now racking up much bigger strikeout totals in fewer innings, just the nature of the way the game has changed. Anyway, thanks a lot for playing. I'll get this uploaded and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Peace.